73 years. That's how long the peace had lasted. In the cold dark of the galaxy. After centuries of war and bloodshed, Earth and the other civilizations signed a fragile agreement called the Orion Pact. It was meant to stop the endless fighting. The humans gave up some of their warships. The alien empires agreed to respect human colonies. Trade was opened. Borders were drawn. And for a time, it worked. People forgot how close the galaxy had come to total destruction. But peace is a delicate thing. And sometimes, one small spark is enough to set the stars on fire again. The Galactic Council met once every 10 years. Leaders from all major species gathered in one system to speak, debate, and renew their promises of peace. This time, the meeting was hosted by the Varnock Empire, the same species that had once fought the bloodiest war against Earth. Still, things were calm. On the third day of the summit, a human diplomatic ship entered orbit of the Varnock capital. World Sholver. The ship was small, elegant, painted white, with the blue emblem of peace on its hull. Aboard were 4 humans, ambassadors, unarmed, smiling, representing Earth with pride. They were welcomed with applause. The Varnock guards saluted. The alien leaders bowed. Everything seemed normal. But deep beneath the surface, hatred still lived. Of the Varnock generals, Krez Thalver never accepted the peace. He had lost 2 sons in the war against humanity. And now he waited in silence, wearing the uniform of peace, but hiding a weapon in his cloak. As the human ambassadors entered the grand hall, something went wrong. The lights flickered. A strange sound filled the air, a deep pulse, like a heartbeat. Then, silence. The next moment shattered history. A hidden energy rifle fired. The ambassador in front, a woman named Leon Cross, was hit in the chest. She fell to the marble floor without a sound. Another shot. Then another. Screams filled the chamber. The humans tried to run, but they had no weapons. They were guests. Peacekeepers. One man survived. Barely. Ambassador Jace Wren stumbled out a side door, holding his side. Blood dripped from his ribs. He crawled toward a secure hallway, clutching a small device in his hand, a beacon, only used in the worst emergencies. He pressed it once, then everything went black. Across the stars, in a hidden command room on Mars, the signal was received. A soft tone echoed through the room. Officers stood up. No one spoke. The screen turned red. A message appeared. Orion Pact breached. Human diplomats killed. Hostile action confirmed. The AI monitoring system didn't ask for orders. It had only one protocol for this situation, and it activated it without hesitation. Code. Nightfall. In less than 1 hour, every human military fleet disappeared from their last known positions. Communication from Earth went silent. No reply, no broadcast, not even to allies. The galaxy waited. Fear grew. Even the strongest empires whispered one question: what are the humans doing? Varnock officials tried to cover up the assassination. They claimed it was a rogue attack by a terrorist faction. They said the human diplomat who survived was being cared for. They sent messages asking Earth not to overreact, but Earth never replied. Instead, human trade ships vanished from neutral space. Mining colonies on the edges of the Milky Way were evacuated. Deep space satellites stopped transmitting. Something was coming, but no one could see it. 1 week passed, then 2. On the 15th day, a Varnock patrol ship discovered something strange near the dead sector, an uninhabited part of space, where no one dared go. There was a station. It wasn't listed on any charts. It was floating, unpowered, cold, silent. The Varnock ship docked. 10 soldiers entered. Inside, they found the bodies of their own kind Varnock officers. Each one looked crushed, but not by weapons. The bodies were twisted, bones broken inward, like gravity itself had slammed them down. There were no signs of struggle, no gunfire, no signs of battle. Just death. And on the wall, written in a black, scorched line of melted metal, was one sentence: you opened fire first. The footage made its way back to the Varnock Emperor. He watched it without speaking. Then he stood up, left the room, and locked himself in his private chamber for 3 days. No one knows what he saw that night. But after that, He ordered full defense alerts across all Varnock worlds. Too late. Back on Earth, underground bunkers came alive. Supercomputers long dormant powered up. Projects that had been classified even from human governments began to move. One by one, they forgotten weapons of the old war were reactivated, not to strike yet, but to listen, to watch, to plan. Humanity had always been patient. They had learned to forgive, but they never forgot. And when peace was broken, when diplomats were murdered, in cold blood Earth didn't cry. It didn't shout, it waited. Quiet, deadly, and somewhere, in the far edges of the Andromeda Drift, a voice recorded by a hidden human drone was played back by Varnock intelligence. It was the last message sent by Ambassador Jace Wren before he died. From his wounds, his voice was weak, but filled with fire. He said, "We came with peace. You answered with blood. Earth will not send armies. We will send silence. And in that silence, you will remember that no one strikes humanity and walks away free." The audio ended. No music, no threats. Just silence. And from that silence, a storm was rising, one that would echo through every system and burn across every star. Humanity had been hurt. Now, they would respond, and nothing in the galaxy would be the same again. The message from Earth never came. Not after the murders, not after the silence, not even after the galaxy begged for a response. For the first time in decades, Earth stopped talking. No signals, no broadcasts, not even routine messages. Human embassies closed their doors. Trade stations powered down. Civilian ships turned back toward home. The stars that once echoed with human voices now felt empty. The galaxy waited and feared. In the halls of the Varnock Empire, panic was hidden behind proud faces. But inside, every official knew what the silence meant. The humans had not forgotten, and they had not forgiven. In a hidden military base beneath the capital city of Varnock Prime, Commander Talver stood before a large holomap. It showed human colonies, Earth fleets, known trade routes, but something was missing. Every known human fleet had vanished. Where did they go? Talver whispered. All gone, his science officer said, eyes wide with fear. No signals, no power readings, just gone. Talver stared at the map for a long time. He had seen war. He had studied the human campaigns of the past. He knew their tactics. And this wasn't retreat. This was preparation. Across the galaxy, other species grew nervous. Some had fought beside the Varnock in past wars. Others had signed peace with Earth, but none of them had ever seen the humans go completely dark. On the planet Zelver, in a neutral system, reporters tried to reach the Earth consulate. The doors were locked. One brave alien stepped forward and knocked. There was no answer. Then, from the speaker above the door, a voice played on repeat. By order of the United Terran Accord, all diplomatic contact is suspended until justice is restored. The voice was calm. EMOTIONLESS. And terrifying. Back in Varnock space, a new mystery appeared. A science outpost near the edge of a black star system detected something strange. A distortion in space, like a small gravitational storm, but moving. And growing. Ships sent to investigate never returned. Only one probe made it out. The footage it sent back showed something no one could explain. A ripple in space, like water being disturbed. In the center was nothing, and yet stars behind. It bent like glass. Time itself seemed to slow. Then, just before the feed cut, a voice whispered, "Judgment comes." That was the last transmission. Within hours, rumors spread across the galaxy. Earth has built a new weapon. They've opened a portal. They're summoning something. Theories filled the networks. Panic followed. People left border systems. Black markets exploded as desperate colonies tried to buy defense tech, but none of it helped, because no one knew what Earth was actually planning. On a quiet moon orbiting Jupiter, inside a facility called Station Obsidian, something ancient had awakened. It was not a ship, not a weapon in the normal sense. It was something else. A command center from the old wars, hidden, forgotten, locked under layers of AI encryption. But when the diplomats died, the beacon was triggered. And the system inside woke up. Its name, Echo-9. Inside its core, thousands of war records, simulations, and future scenarios began to run. The AI didn't just calculate response. It designed revenge. And it sent one order to all shadow fleets: scatter, hide, wait. No alien sensors could detect them. Humanity was no longer playing the same game. They weren't preparing for war. They were preparing for punishment. Meanwhile, on the Varnock homeworld, politicians argued. We must apologize? No, that shows weakness. Offer them planets, anything. Why won't they answer? But still, Earth remained silent. Not because they were uncertain. Not because they were scared, but because they were deciding who would disappear first. A week later, a distress call came from the planet Phyrix, a Varnock mining world. It had a population of 2 million. The signal was short, choppy, full of static. It came from the dark, nothing visible. Our shields didn't stop it. It's like space itself is attacking. Then silence. When Varnock scouts arrived, the planet was gone, not destroyed, not in flames. Gone. No heat, no radiation, no bodies. Just a dark sphere floating where a world used to be. Even the star above it flickered, as if mourning. The galaxy froze. That day was remembered as the first Echo. No proof linked it to Earth. But everyone knew. And for the first time, the Varnock Empire realized this wasn't a war they could fight, that it was a war they had already lost. On a cold night inside Earth's orbit, a Terran commander stood aboard a Black Ops ship, the Phantom Spear. He looked down at Earth, glowing blue and quiet. Are we ready? His officer asked. He nodded. They killed our peace, he said. Now we show them what silence can do. Across space, hidden human fleets waited inside asteroid fields, behind gas giants, cloaked by tech no one had seen before. Each one held a target list. Each one was silent, but all of them listened. For one signal, just one word, and when it came, the galaxy would never be the same. The galaxy held its breath. Still no response from Earth. No formal declaration. No fleet formation. No demands. But the consequences were already being felt. Varnock colonies had gone dark. One mining moon vanished without a trace, and all of it happened without a single human ship being seen. People started whispering a chilling phrase. The first strike wasn't ours. But it didn't matter, because now something else had begun. The Dreeken Halls, one of the most powerful trade syndicates in the Spiral Arm, sent their best recon ship into the outer belt close to the last known location of a missing Varnock convoy. The recon ship was called Seeker's Eye. It was equipped with the best stealth tech available, shielded against radiation, hidden from scanners, built to observe without being seen. The Seeker's Eye drifted slowly through the darkness of the asteroid belt. No sound, no movement. Then something moved. Not on sensors, not through visuals, through gravity. The space around the ship began to bend, just slightly. Not enough to trigger alarms, just enough to make a glass of water ripple. Inside the ship, Commander Vol looked at his navboard. We've got something strange. He sighed, frowning. Mass displacement, but nothing's there. Then the lights dimmed. Just for a second, and in that second, the ship changed. One crew member began screaming. Another floated upward, eyes wide, gasping for air. Even though life support was fine, the floor pulsed like it was alive. And then everything stopped. The lights returned. The systems rebooted. But when Commander Vol looked around, half his crew was gone. Not dead. Not injured. Just gone. Erased. Vol turned to the ship's main screen. Static flashed once. Then a message appeared. This is not a warning. This is a reply. And below it, a single symbol. The Earth Alliance crest, glowing red. The Seeker's Eye limped back to Dreeken, space with only 3 of its original 20 crew members. The survivors couldn't explain what happened. They said space itself turned against them. Like something invisible had passed through the ship and rewritten reality. The Dreekens immediately withdrew from all Varnock-aligned trade. They didn't announce it. They didn't explain. They just left. One alien general said it best. The humans aren't fighting like us anymore. They're not playing the same game. They're rewriting the rules. Back on Earth, inside an underground facility beneath Antarctica, Project Echo continued its work. The AI, called Echo 9, ran over 1 million simulations a second. It didn't plan battles. It planned consequences. Echo-9 was not built to win wars. It was built to end civilizations without lifting a single human finger. And now, it was active. Across space, strange gravitational ripples began appearing. They were small, unstable, but each one matched a known Varnic system. And then, one day, in the quiet region near the Terran Void, a ghost signal was detected. It was human. In origin. Encrypted. Old-style Earth military code. Only one. Varnock ship picked it up. They decoded the first line. It said, Deliverance Protocol Phase 2. Unseen fire begins. And seconds later, that Varnock ship was never heard from again. No explosion. No debris. No time to run. Just. Nothing. And still no human ships had been seen. Back in the Varnick capital. Military leaders met in secret. We must respond now. General Krez growled. They are erasing our presence. One system at a time. But how do we fight what we can't see? One of the admirals asked. The room went quiet. No one had an answer. They didn't know what humanity had built. Didn't know where it was. And worst of all, they didn't know when it would strike next. Meanwhile, on the Terran vessel Silent Requiem, Commander Issa Blake stood before a long black window, staring at the stars. She was part of Project Echo's silent fleet. Her ship had no weapons. It didn't need any. It carried a payload of folded space resonance charges devices that could collapse matter from across light years. No lasers. Just gravity and silence. We don't fire first, she said to her crew. We don't fire at all. We remove. Orders? The pilot asked. Blake stared at the screen. A list of target systems appeared. She tapped the first name. Varine Call 4. A secret Varnock military outpost known for experimenting on captured humans during the last war. Authorization was confirmed. And across space, nothing happened. At least. Nothing anyone could see. But minutes later, on Varine Call 4, sensors began to fail. The sky darkened, though it was still day. And then, one by one, the structures on the surface began to sink, as if the ground beneath them was turning into air. Explosions. No chaos. Just a quiet folding. Within 30 seconds, the outpost was gone. Varnock rescue ships found only a perfectly smooth crater. No rubble. No heat. Just silence. Again. All the galaxy could do was guess. And all the messages sent to Earth still went unanswered. Except one. A Varnock science vessel sent a desperate transmission, begging for mercy. It wasn't sent to Earth's main channel. It was sent to an old relay, once used by human scouts during the early peace years. They didn't expect a reply, but they got one. Just one line. You should have protected the diplomats. The message was not signed, but everyone knew who sent it, because only humans could turn silence into fear. Only humans could strike without being seen, and only humans could make the galaxy understand. This wasn't about war anymore. This was about memory. They remembered who fired first. They remembered who died in peace. And now, every system held its breath, waiting for the next echo, because the humans hadn't declared war. They didn't need to. They were the war now. The galaxy wasn't ready. Not for this kind of revenge. Not for this kind of silence. It was the 4th week since the assassination of the human diplomats. Still, Earth had not sent a fleet. Still, no declaration of war. Still, no human army had crossed enemy borders. But one by one, Varnock systems were disappearing. Quietly. Completely. Without a single trace of resistance. A shadow fell across the stars, and its name was Earth. On a remote Varnock border world called Corallos 5, everything seemed normal until a strange anomaly appeared in the sky. It wasn't a ship. It wasn't a weapon. It was a ripple. Like the sky had cracked and was now bending in slow motion. Sensors failed to lock onto it. Lasers fired into the anomaly were swallowed, bent, and twisted into harmless spirals. And then a sound came, not loud, not angry, just a whisper. broadcast through every comb on the planet. A human voice. Cold. Empty. This is for Ambassador Leon Cross. Then the sky fell. No fire. No explosion. Just a sudden, absolute flattening of space above. The main city. In seconds, the government center disappeared. Towers crumbled inward without a sound. Ships dropped from the sky as if gravity had tripled. In less than 5 minutes. The entire capital zone was flattened into a glass-like surface. Rest of the planet. Untouched. No civilian areas hit. No collateral damage. Just the heart of their power. Gone. Perfectly executed. Like a message. Back on Earth, no celebrations were held. No media broadcasts. Praised the strike. No one boasted. Because this wasn't about victory. It was about memory. In a classified war room beneath Lunar Base Echo, Admiral Reyna Sol watched as the latest field report came in. Corrallos 5, government zone. Neutralized, her officer said softly. She nodded once. Next, she said. The next target was already selected. Drexus Outpost Theta, a secret Varnoke listening post used to spy on human colonies during peacetime. Admiral Sol didn't hesitate. Authorize. Protocol. Mirror. Silence. Across deep space, a ship unlike any the galaxy had ever seen moved into position. It had no name. No registration. Its hull was blacker than space itself. It didn't use engines. It slid through space as if pulled by the void. Inside. No crew. Just AI. Built not to fight, but to erase. It arrived near the outpost. Waited. And then activated its only weapon. A resonance pulse. To the outside eye. Nothing happened. But inside the outpost, everything changed. Metal bent. Walls screamed. Gravity shifted. The last message sent by the Varnock crew was full of terror. We're being pulled inside our own walls. Then, static. And silence. Once again. The Drexus outpost was gone. Only a black imprint remained, like a scar burned into space. And again, the galaxy whispered, "This is not war. This is revenge." In the Varnook royal chambers, Emperor Krez himself demanded answers. How can they strike without ships? Where are their weapons? Where are their fleets? His generals had no answers. One suggested that humans had created a weapon that lived in subspace itself. Another whispered the unthinkable. That, maybe. The humans had found a way to speak to the universe, to command it. No one laughed. Because no one had a better explanation. Across the galaxy, former enemies of Earth began quietly backing away from the Varnock. The Threll Imperium canceled their military alliance. The HFY Syndicate surrendered 3 trade stations to the Terran embassy. Without being asked, even the silent, mysterious Quarren species sent Earth a gift, an ancient artifact said to control dark energy fields. The message attached simply said, "We never agreed with the killing of diplomats." Humanity never replied. But they didn't strike the Quarren either. The message was clear. Earth wasn't attacking randomly. They were targeting only those responsible, and those who stood with them. In a hidden Varnock science lab deep inside a moon, scientists worked desperately to build a counterweapon. One day, while testing gravitational shielding, a strange anomaly appeared in their lab. A sphere, perfect, black, floating. They tried to scan it, but all devices failed. Then, the lead scientist, Dr. Thras, touched the sphere and vanished. Instantly. The others screamed. Some fled. Others tried to destroy the sphere. Nothing worked. And then, a message appeared on the lab's main console. Just 4 words. Do not touch memory. They shut the lab down. And the moon itself was quarantined. But it was too late. The fear had already spread. Back on Earth, the real planners watched it all from hidden bunkers. They were not politicians. They were not generals. They were families. Of the slain, they were AI built from human emotion, and they remembered everything. One of them, an AI called Echo 17, was built from the memories of Ambassador Jace Wren, the diplomat who had bled out after sending the warning beacon. Echo 17 remembered every second of his final breath, and now it hunted, not with hate, but with perfect memory. Its mission was not to destroy the galaxy. Its mission was to teach it a lesson it would never forget. Aboard a hidden listening post on the edge of human space, A Varnic spy picked up something strange. A single repeating signal faint almost like a heartbeat. He recorded it, ran it through. Translation software the message came out. They warned us. We didn't listen. Now we remember with pain. The spy froze. He sent the recording to his superiors. But before the message reached the Empire, his ship folded into itself. No explosion. No warning. Just a soft pulse of light. Then darkness. The only thing that remained. The recording, echoing on loop, through an empty channel. By now, the galaxy understood. Earth wasn't striking to win. We're striking to make the galaxy feel what they felt. Betrayal. And silence. And now, those feelings were spreading. Some alien species started fearing even speaking against humans. Others began teaching their children the new rule. Do not anger Earth. But for the Varnook, it was already too late, because deep in the void, a new force had begun to move. A warship not seen by any known eye. A Titan-class vessel built in secret after the Orion Pact. Its name, the Revenant, and it had only one mission. To echo back every pain Earth had ever felt. One system at a time. The skies above the Varelian Empire's central command station dimmed not from shadow or cloud, but from the colossal presence of Earth's ships. They did not come silent this time. The message they sent to the galaxy was loud, terrifying, and absolute. The humans had made their decision. Across the sector, sensors screamed warnings. Spaceports scrambled, commanders shouted, and planetary leaders held emergency meetings that quickly turned into panicked evacuations. Every species that had once mocked, dismissed, or betrayed humanity now watched in paralyzed silence. First time in recorded history, Earth had activated Project Echo Vengeance. Admiral Roya Hale stood on the bridge of the dreadnought Ashes of Eden, her face stone cold, her voice sharp as steel. Commence Operation Veilfire. Her officers obeyed, without hesitation. The command unlocked a sequence of protocols that hadn't been used in over a century, protocols that had been buried under treaties, peace promises, and centuries of restraint. No one had ever dared to trigger them. Until now, the humans didn't fire immediately. No. First, they transmitted the footage. All of it. The massacre at the frontier colony. The cries of burning children. The images of betrayed ambassadors. The silent face of a dying Earth diplomat as the Varelians laughed behind him. That footage broadcasted across the galaxy. Every species saw it. Every leader tried to deny it. Too late. Then came the ultimatum. We do not seek to rule. We do not crave conquest, but we will never forget. And we will never forgive. You had your chance. Now, you watch. The Ashes of Eden opened its forward batteries. What followed was not war. It was correction. The orbital defenses of Varelia Prime shattered in minutes. Their fleet, considered invincible, didn't even last a full hour. Each human strike was precise, controlled, deliberate. Cities weren't scorched in madness. They were erased in cold, strategic silence. Data centers, power grids, command bunkers gone. They didn't kill civilians unless fired upon. But once resistance began, mercy ended. On the ground, Commander Luth Erkai of the Varelians tried to rally his troops, but morale had collapsed. Their soldiers had heard the stories. Human ghosts that fought without sleep, drones that moved faster than thought, weapons that bent gravity. And now those stories marched through their streets. In orbit, over 20 Titan-class human warships loomed. The other empires watched helplessly. Some sent desperate messages of truce. Others begged Earth not to expand its vengeance. But Earth didn't respond. Not with words. It responded with action. And every move echoed with the rage of a species that had warned the stars again and again. Do not anger the humans. One by one, outposts that aided the betrayal were turned to dust. Human diplomats had once been the quietest voices in the galaxy. Now their warships screamed louder than any senate, and still Earth showed restraint. There were planets they could have glassed. They didn't, but those spared were left with messages scorched into their land visible from orbit. Never again. Across the galaxy, children of every species learned to speak those words. It became the first phrase every ambassador memorized in the far reaches of the galaxy, on a hidden moon, a mysterious AI watched Earth's advance. They held back for so long, it whispered, and now balance has shifted. Part 5 ended not with destruction, but with silence. The kind of silence that comes after a storm has passed and only ruins remain. But even then, the galaxy knew. The humans were not finished. They had only just begun. The broadcast was heard in every known star system. It wasn't a threat. It wasn't a declaration. It was a plea from the once proud Zarn Dominion, now reduced to fractured command posts and burning worlds. Came the message. This is Supreme Strategist Valeron of the Zarn High Council. We beg the humans to stop. We surrender. Please, mercy. But it was too late for begging. 3 months earlier, the Zarn had mocked Earth's warnings. They had ambushed a peace summit, destroyed a human medical vessel, and executed diplomats. Leave across the galactic stream. That was the day Earth changed its voice, from patient negotiator to silent executioner. And now, their silence echoed louder than words. Above the shattered planet of Corax 9, Admiral Elaine Sorin stood on the bridge of the dreadnought Heaven's Ember. Around her, silence. Not a single cheer, not even a whisper. The crew watched the transmission play again and again. As the Zarn leaders fell to their knees, no emotion passed through the human fleet. No response was sent. The humans had given the galaxy time to understand. Now they were teaching it to remember. On the surface of Corax 9, the Zarn command centers were gone. Precision strikes had vaporized them. Human stealth bots had entered weeks ago. No sound, no announcement. Just sudden failure in communications, command breakdowns, assassinations. Some Zarn soldiers turned on their own officers, desperate to survive. But humanity did not come to negotiate any more. In the orbit of every major Zarn world, a single message, blinked in holographic blue. This is not war. This is the consequence. The Galactic Council tried to intervene. Ships were sent to block Earth's armadas. But when 2 of their cruisers mysteriously detonated without any visible attack, every observer stepped back. Fear spread faster than gravity. Admiral Sorin finally turned to her communications officer. Next target? Zarn shipyards. Lortha system. Estimated civilian population, 200 million. Launch whisper drones, no warning. Let them see. The order was cold, but not cruel. The humans were no longer interested in convincing the galaxy of their right to exist. That chance had been burned the day their diplomats were butchered. Now, Earth was showing what followed when humanity had no patience left. On board the Zarn refugee vessel Cradle of Honor, a young Zarn historian named Yek Talin watched the human assault from afar. He recorded everything: the patterns, the silence, the precision. His final note was broadcast to neutral observers. They gave us a chance. We laughed at them. We hurt their kin. And now, they are showing us what a species forged in fire and loss can become when you give them no other choice. His message ended with the sound of distant thunder, no explosions. Just the shaking of the stars as Heaven's Ember began charging its orbital cannon. No words followed. No countdown. Just justice, delivered the human way. And still, the galaxy wondered, would humanity ever stop? Or had the age of mercy ended forever? The alien firestorm ripped across the outer wall of Station Delta 7. Every blast shook the metal bones of the station. Sparks danced in the air. Sirens howled. Most of the defense crew had fallen back or died already. The shield generator was seconds from failing. And yet one figure still stood. Commander Rain Carter. A human. He was the last officer left at the main defense platform. His helmet cracked, his rifle overheated. Blood ran down his arm. But his eyes were steady, focused, burning with something terrifying. Not fear, not rage. Purpose. Across the combs, a trembling alien voice whispered, retreat. The human, he won't fall. Rain didn't retreat when the first breach opened. He didn't blink when the second wave came in. He didn't flinch when they tried to negotiate again, offering him surrender in exchange for Earth's silence. He just laughed. And said one thing. I made a promise to a little girl on Terra that no alien would ever set foot on her world. Now, as the final horde closed in, beasts with claws, machines with blades, shadows that whispered, Rain set his last rifle to overload and charged. Earlier that day, the outer colonies were burning. After the destruction of Karsus V and the betrayal at the Peace Summit, human forces scattered. Command links were down. The Terran defense grid had fallen silent. Delta 7 became the last forward line between Earth and the enemy armada. Rain Carter was not meant to be stationed there. He had retired after the siege of Vale Prime. The war had left scars in his body, metal in his spine, and ghosts in his sleep. But when the call came, when the alien fleet started moving again, he didn't hesitate. He walked into the fire again. Delta 7 was undermanned. Supplies were low. The AI system refused to boot. The alien fleet would arrive in hours, and backup wasn't coming. Other commanders gave up. Rain held the line. He walked deck by deck, repaired broken turrets himself, installed new sensors by hand, trained raw recruits who had never fired a weapon. He didn't raise speeches. He raised morale by action, by presence. His scars spoke louder than any admiral's words. When the civilians begged to evacuate, he said, "You'll leave. But this place stays defended, no matter the cost." And the moment he said that, something shifted. A silence. Then a nod. Some stayed, not because they had to, but because he stayed. Hours later, the attack began. Wormhole tiers opened above the station. Alien torpedoes screamed toward the shields. In seconds, the sky turned red. The defense systems activated, and the battle began. Rain didn't hide behind walls. He was the first on the front line, sniper rifle in one hand, shotgun in the other. He ducked, moved, killed, with perfect aim. With fire in his chest, even the enemy commanders noticed. This human. He doesn't break. They tried to overwhelm him. They dropped plasma bombs, suicide drones, even mind disruptors. Nothing worked. He kept moving, kept firing, kept leading. Even as the station began falling apart. Even when reinforcements died one by one, and in one final transmission to Earth. Rain sent only 3 words, "Still holding, sir." And came the final wave. The enemy brought their elite. Genetic monsters. Psychic killers. Mind hackers. They thought Rain would finally fall. But Rain set his last trick in motion. He locked down the station. Rerouted the fusion core. And as the monsters crawled through the halls toward the command deck, he stood alone at the corridor's end. Bloodied. Burning. But smiling. His last message wasn't words. It was a live feed of the alien army watching. One human, one man stand his ground until the final second. Then the station exploded, taking the entire assault fleet with it. Later, when Earth forces arrived days later, they found nothing but floating wreckage and charred halls. No sign of the enemy. No sign of Rain, but his name was already being whispered across star systems. He held the line. And in enemy territory, entire fleets paused, refusing to move toward human space, because of one man. A legend now. Rain Carter the human held the line, and they had only just begun to fear what humans were capable of. No one in the galaxy expected silence to sound this terrifying. The Council of Galactic Powers gathered in the ancient halls of Carthalon Prime. The great dome above them shimmered with the light of distant stars. But inside, the air was thick with fear. Every species sat quietly, waiting. Not one dared to speak first, because the humans had sent a message. Not a warship, not a fleet. Just not a message. It was short. One sentence. You have 3 hours to surrender the architects of the war, or Earth will end this galaxy cycle. Those words, broadcast in every galactic language, echoed louder than any weapon. 3 hours. No demands, no debate. Just surrender or face extinction. Ambassador Vrex of the Varnari Alliance stood, his scaled face twitching. This is madness, he whispered, though the hall's acoustics made it sound like a scream. They can't possibly mean it. This is a bluff. They meant everything they did so far, growled Marshal Zephin of the Farn Dominion. Did you forget what happened to the Drawl? Their planet is now a crater glowing in 6 spectrums. And the Korlax moon colonies, added the soft-voiced erring diplomat. Gone. No trace. Not even dust. In a corner of the chamber, a hologram flickered to life. It was her General Sarah Elian, Supreme Commander of Earth's final fleet. No one had seen her face in weeks. The human face that now carried the weight of 1 billion lost Earth lives. Calm. Still. Cold. She didn't speak at first. She only watched. Then she said quietly, "Time's almost up." Panic swept through the chamber. "No, wait. We need more time. We were tricked. It was the Zinther who started the war. We'll hand them over. We'll give you everyone responsible." But Sarah's eyes didn't blink. "You had years. You had warnings. You had every chance." A soft beep sounded. Behind her, a timer, 0 to 2:17. 2 minutes left. You murdered our peacekeepers. You laughed at our calls for justice. You used Earth's kindness as a weakness. That ends now. Marshal Zethan slammed his fist on the table. "You don't have the right." Sarah looked directly at him. "We don't need permission." Across space, hundreds of Earth's warships, each cloaked, each powered by dark matter engines, awaited a signal. They weren't built for diplomacy. These were revenge vessels, silent, ruthless, armed with weapons the galaxy had only seen once and never understood. Each one had a name carved into its hull. A name from the Earth cities lost in the first attack. New York's wrath. Seoul's memory. Mumbai's vengeance. Kinshasa's echo. And on the lead ship, never again. The timer on General Sarah's display reached 00 hours, 0 minutes, and 0 seconds. And she spoke one last time. "We asked for peace. You gave us death. Now we answer." She raised her hand. And then ... The stars changed. Planets didn't explode. They simply disappeared, erased. From the star maps, weapon satellites blinked out. Entire fleets scrambled to respond, but there was no enemy to see. Just a void where planets used to be. All species received a final message recorded, played in their own voices. Humanity is not your enemy, but we are your consequence. Back in the Galactic Council, silence ruled again. No one dared to speak. The war was over, but history would never forget what happened when Earth finally got tired of begging. And what followed after humanity's final ultimatum was a galaxy too scared to ever provoke them again. They didn't just earn respect. They became fear itself. The revenge of humans would echo through the stars for generations to come, and the message was clear. Never anger Earth.